I've spent a lot of time watching cruise passengers. The way they move, what they order, how they act the moment the gangway drops, and somewhere along the way, I had a genuinely uncomfortable realization. I'm not the observer, I'm the subject. By the end of this video, you'll recognize yourself in at least 3 of these types, maybe more. This isn't a roast, it's a mirror. Here are 12 people you'll meet on every single cruise, no matter which ship, no matter which ocean. Type 1, the drink package Olympian. You know this person because you might be this person. They paid for the premium beverage package, did the math on the flight home, and decided the only logical response was to treat the bar like a competitive sport. Day 1 starts with a double mimosa at 8 a.m. Not because they're thirsty, but because the package doesn't pay for itself. Every drink gets mentally logged. Pina colada, beer, some frozen thing they didn't actually want but ordered anyway because it counted. You can see the internal calculator running behind their sunglasses. By 3 p.m., the human body has filed a formal protest. You'll find them face up on a sun lounger, a half-melted frozen drink sweating on their chest, full sunburn developing in real time. Type 2, the buffet architect. Most people walk into the buffet hungry. The buffet architect walks in with a strategy. They've already mentally mapped the stations, identified the high-value targets, and calculated the most efficient route through the crowd. 3 plates in hand simultaneously. Not because they're greedy, they'll tell you, but because it saves trips. The salad section gets bypassed completely. They head straight for the shrimp tower, constructing something with genuine structural integrity concerns. And dessert? Dessert gets grabbed first. 3 slices of chocolate cake secured before anything else, because what if the ship runs out? What if? By day 2, the crew recognizes them on sight. There's a quiet, respectful awe from the kitchen staff. The way you might watch someone attempt something that shouldn't be physically possible. My confession. I told myself I was sampling. A little of this, a little of that. I had 4 plates. I was not sampling. Type 3, the port rookie. The gangway drops and off they go. Maximum confidence, 0 preparation, pockets full of cash. They walk straight past the official transit area and directly into the arms of a man holding a handwritten cardboard sign promising an exclusive beach experience. That secluded paradise turns out to be a rocky strip of sand packed with other tourists, and the taxi back costs 3 times what was agreed. But the real damage happens at the market. The port rookie haggles with fierce determination, absolutely certain they've just outplayed a local merchant on a luxury watch. They board the ship proud. By the time the ship leaves port, the watch has turned their wrist green. The wooden souvenir they bought at the next stall gets confiscated at agricultural security before they even unpack it. Type 4, the Chair Hog. They're up at 6 a.m., but not for the sunrise. The sunrise is irrelevant. What matters is real estate. Armed with a stack of towels, a paperback, and 1 flip-flop deployed as a territorial marker, they move fast and they move early. 4 prime pool chairs claimed, right next to the infinity pool, full sun, perfect position, and then they vanish. Back to sleep probably, or down to the breakfast buffet. Fast forward to 10 a.m. The deck is packed. Families are doing their 4th lap looking for a single open seat, and those 4 chairs are still sitting there with nothing but a towel and a lonely flip-flop doing more sunbathing than the actual person who claimed them. Type 5, the casino hero. They've cracked it. That's the energy. Whatever system everyone else has been missing, this passenger has figured it out on the flight over, and the cruise line has no idea what's coming. They settle into the same slot machine with the focus of someone defusing something, chasing the ship-wide jackpot with absolute conviction. When a $25 payout lands, the whole deck knows. High fives, a story for the bartender, a moment of genuine triumph. And then, the streak ends, as streaks do. The celebrations stop. The seat empties. They become a ghost for the rest of the voyage, completely invisible, unreachable, somewhere between their cabin and the elevator. My confession, I put $20 in a slot machine, won $8 back, and felt like a genius for a full hour. A full hour. Type 6, the rule breaker. This one starts before the cruise even begins. They've watched the tutorials. Rum decanted into mouthwash bottles, carefully resealed, packed between the clothes. They've done the research, they've done the prep, they are ready. On board, the dress code is a suggestion worth arguing about while standing there in damp board shorts. Crew-only signs read more like invitations than warnings. They genuinely believe they're outsmarting a modern cruise ship, apparently unaware that every corridor has cameras and security knew their cabin number before lunch on day 1. Type 7, the party crew. They didn't book a cruise, they booked a venue. The ship just happens to float. The party crew moves as a unit, loud before you see them, and they arrive at the hot tub like they're reclaiming something that was always theirs. Even on lines that have banned Bluetooth speakers, they find a way. Phones propped up, volume maxed, neon shots appearing from nowhere at 11 a.m. The thing about the party crew is they don't just want to have fun, they want you to have fun too, whether you opted in or not. Every nearby deck chair gets pulled into the radius, and after midnight, the hallway becomes their encore. 3 in the morning, full volume, stumbling past cabins where people are trying to sleep before a 7 a.m. excursion. Zero awareness, maximum commitment.
Type 8, the content creator. If there's no footage, it didn't happen. That's the operating principle. The content creator has turned the entire ship into a personal studio, and everyone else on board is either a prop or an obstacle. You'll find them holding up the dining room line to get a slow motion pour of something melting, their actual dinner going cold behind them while they review the shot. Tripods appear in the narrowest corridors. Walk through the frame and you get a look that could strip paint. Their evolved cousin, the viral wannabe, takes it further. Choreographed dances on the main stairwell. Balcony railings treated as camera platforms, restricted zones treated as set locations. At some point, it stops being content creation and starts being a genuinely everyone else's problem situation. My confession, I have taken 47 photos of the same sunset. Not 47 attempts at the right one, 47 different versions I thought were each the best one. None of them were for this channel. All of them are still on my phone. Type 9, the main character. The cruise was built for them. That's not arrogance, that's just how they experience it. Every inconvenience lands as a personal offense. Every deviation from the expected itinerary registers as a deliberate insult. They're at guest services before most people have finished breakfast, demanding a manager explain why the ocean was so rough last night. There's a formal complaint about the rainforest excursion getting rained on. There's a request for future cruise credits because the pool bar ran out of sparkling water for 40 minutes on a Tuesday. Behind them in line, 30 people are waiting, watching, quietly calculating how long this is going to take. The answer is always longer than it should be. Type 10, the balcony DJ. You paid extra for the balcony specifically to get away from all of this. The private space, the ocean sounds, the quiet. You pour a drink, step outside, and then the bass drops from 2 cabins over. What most people don't realize about cruise ship balcony dividers is that they do essentially nothing for sound. They actually bounce it, sending every beat straight into the space you just paid a premium to enjoy quietly. At 4 p.m., it's annoying. At 1 a.m., when you've got a shore excursion alarm set for 6:30, it's something else entirely. The balcony DJ operates under the genuine belief that their side of the ship has been waiting all day for this playlist. Type 11, the Pier Runner. All aboard is 4:30. It says so on the daily schedule, on the sign at the gangway, in the announcement that plays 3 times. The Pier Runner processes this information and decides 4:45 is probably fine. They're still at a market 3 miles from the port, haggling over a wooden turtle when the horn goes. The sprint that follows is something to witness. Flip-flops on concrete, shopping bags swinging in both hands, the full pier stretched out ahead of them. Up on the balconies, hundreds of passengers who made it back on time have front row seats. They cheer, they film, they judge. The Pier Runner in that moment becomes the most watched person on the ship. Type 12, the seasoned veteran. They know which deck is quietest after 9 p.m. They know which cabins sit above the nightclub and which ones don't. They've got the same cabin booked 2 years in advance. The crew knows their name, and they've already done the math on every port stop before the ship leaves home. They watch everyone on this list with quiet, knowing recognition, and they do at least 2 of these things themselves without acknowledging it. The most experienced passenger on the ship is also somehow the most guilty one. My confession, this one is all of us after enough cruises. I came on this cruise to people watch. I left as 3 of these people minimum. Drop in the comments which one you are, or which one you spotted on your last sailing. And if you want to know which ships all 12 of these characters are about to descend on next, watch our video on these 9 new cruise ships will change everything. It's right here. Subscribe so you don't miss it, and I'll see you on the next one. Try not to be the Pier Runner. Happy cruising!